group with the Cowboys Report. We're back in this thing. Me, your guy Nix, to my, I guess that's my right, y'all's left, depending on how you're looking at it. My guy Spoonie's in the building.
Good.
Spoonie, what is going on, my brother?
Everything gravy, man. Everything's good. I'm excited so far. Training camp, everything looking good so far. I'm impressed. Getting ready to get it going.
Mm-hmm. What is going on, my brother? Yeah, I mean, as I commented earlier today, you were definitely wide open in your lack of what's exactly going on with Earl Thomas. Obviously, we're going to touch some of that tonight. We're also going to be touching on training camp, practice, what's been going on, some ups and downs, maybe some rookie rankings as it's been going so far. Everybody's checking in. As always, give it a like, give it a share. If you're over on YouTube, by all means, go ahead and hit that sub button, notification button. Either way, everyone's checking in early. My guy Norton over there on YouTube, what is going on? Get my new two people up in this thing one time. Ms. Rules in the building. The bearded one, Beard Gangs in the building. Brian, what's good? Well, I mean, now that we've had the Cowboys so far during training camp have had this rule, no tweeting. Hey, you can't tweet. Can't tweet during camp. Well, they kind of broke that rule today, Spoon, because Papa was home.
Right.
Papa Jones that was. And Papa Jones wanted to talk about Mr. Earl Thomas. Would you tell the people kind of what you thought about what Jerry and his thoughts and what he had to say about Earl Thomas?
Basically, for me, it only showed all Jerry, in my opinion, wanted to do was remind everybody that he signs the checks, he makes the decisions. That's all he did. He
Jerome, hey, hold on real quick. So Jerome, yes, for Cowboys games early on, yes, there will be attendance for fans up to 50% of capacity is what the word is. But go ahead, Spoon. Back to what did you think of Jerry's comments about Earl Thomas?
I mean, look, he shut down in rap report. He basically said, "You don't know anything, or you know that I'm here right now." He basically came out and said that it's not a not now situation. We don't know yet. It's open. Basically, all you wanted to show was that you make the final decision, because every question was based on what McCarthy said and what Stevie Jones said. Listen, McCarthy came out and said the minute Earl was released, he went over to Willie. He spoke with Willie McClay. I took that as he knows the roster. He knows they can improve. Stevie Jones, right after him, said that that's an area that they will continue to look at. They need to look at that area. And what Jerry said today was pretty much is still open, but we don't know for sure anything. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, basically at the end of the day, what Jeffrey or what Jerry was saying was the next step would be for them to sit down, right? So I mean, there's kind of that or whatnot. Now I saw Tavis replying to Jerome about attendance. Be clear, the governor said for the state of Texas there will be attendance for Cowboys games. Now there won't be attendance week one out there in LA. The Los Angeles said no attendance or whatnot, but as far as here at AT&T Stadium, they will have fans in the building for sure. Shout out to my guy Jeffrey checking in over there on YouTube as well. Make sure you hit that sub button for us one time. And he says, I think that means he's interested but researching. And of course, Brian saying ET has not been ruled out. And of course, the Spoon was in, as we were chatting today, kind of going back and forth with the Spoon thing. I said, the one thing that works in the favor is the Niners have came out and said they're out. You saw Arizona pay Budda Baker. They gave him the bag. They're not going to be signing him. Texans have said they're out. So for most intents and purposes, a lot of these landing places we thought of, or, the powers that be thought of, he's not, it's kind of dried up. And as I said, and I'm going to keep pounding the table here. Look, if Earl Thomas comes here, absolutely. At the end of the day, when we got people that is watching these practices and saying that the absence of Jeff Heath is being felt, you got to add something. And that's why I'm going to go back to whether it's Earl or not, whether it's a Logan Ryan, whether it's a Rashad Jones. Like, as good as this team has been this whole offseason so far with this new front office, this new coaching staff, right, and adding pieces that they needed no matter where this piece is, they need to add something at the safety position for sure. But now, as it pertains to Earl Thomas, maybe the Cowboys have learned their lesson. Hold on, but now, Spoon, this is going to frustrate you, right? But I mean, you heard all the hoopla when they were after Minka. It didn't happen. You heard all the hoopla when they were after Jamal. It didn't happen. You didn't hear any hoopla about Everson Griffin, and the Cowboys just signed him. And obviously, they're trying to connect the dots after what happened, last offseason with Earl. But maybe we could take and look. And Steven even said this on 105.3 a few days ago. It's like we've kind of learned our lesson. It was basically, hey, we're not really going to say much. We feel that works better in our benefit. Now, Papa Jerry did get out there today and wanted to get ahead of it and say some things. Jerry's been probably itching. It was a long stretch of him being quiet. But with that being said, though, they could be working on the deal. They're just not going to say much about it, Spoon.
Now, see, here's the thing. Let me get my rules. Hold on. Here's my thing. I get the research. I'm
with you all. Go ahead.
I get the research. I get all of that. Here's my situation. It never comes in. It's never. This is not a thing that goes on all the time where a premier player, a top player in the position gets released. This was a present. This was like a baby stork. I mean, not baby stork, a regular stork, like the Looney Tunes. The stork had Earl Thomas in a bag and dropped them right in front of Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones's doorstep, saying, "Hey, you want them, you can have them." 3 strikes. You tried to trade for Minka, it didn't go right. You tried to more, it didn't go right.
Mm-hmm.
You got Earl Thomas in your lap, and you're telling me I can't say much.
Well,
he's not to say. He's not for trade. He is right there on your doorstep. Now, here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Folks are acting as if Earl Thomas have committed crimes. They're acting as if the guy has the pedigree of Antonio Brown and other players. My God, forget the issue he had with his wife. That's not football concern. That happened. That's personal. That's his personal business. Right. Now, as far as hitting his teammate, I can understand that. He got frustrated. I understand those things. We've had worse. T.O., Charles Haley. I mean, look at the roster right now with Everson Griffin and Alden Smith. We've had guys. I'm all for sitting down, having a talk with Earl. Where's your head at mentally? If you come on this team X1, hell, Mike McCarthy, he had Charles Woodson on the Green Bay Packers with two DUIs and an issue with a female. And the teammates didn't want him.
Yeah, we got a special guest in the building. Joined us since Mary had some work obligations. We brought somebody along for the ride. Mr. Bluff City is in the building. Marcus D. Jones, how's it going, good sir?
What's up, fellas? Thank you for inviting me out tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a perfect time for you to come in, so I was able to kind of reel Spoon back in because I thought Spoon was about to blow a gasket here on the Earl Thomas thing.
No.
And that's go ahead, Spoon. Get it on out.
Here's the thing. Here's my thing. We're all tuned in training camp, and we're hearing that Davian Thompson is looking like the best safety on the roster. Now, I remember a couple of months ago when I'm screaming Jamal Adams, no, we don't need him. We signed Ha-Ha. Now, guess what? The name Ha-Ha, that's what's going on in our faces. Ha-Ha to us. Because guess what? We rely on a one-year rental guy. He's not doing his job right. He's on the bench for Davian. And guess what? I don't even know what's the term good means for Davian Thompson, the safety. No disrespect to him. He was out of Boise State when he went to the Giants before injury. But he's a journeyman. You're telling me that we are fine. We are okay with with Davian Thompson?
Okay, Spoon. And back to your point about the off the field stuff. Something I told you before, we came on, this whole idea where it came out, he washed his car and missed this practice or whatever the case, walked through. I mean, the team's going to kind of leak this kind of stuff out to soften the blow for their own fan base and things of that nature. It doesn't mean nothing here. Now, the noise is going to come. I mean, it's Dallas. If you bring Earl in here, with the litany of history of come get me sprinters. And I think people got to remember too, he pretty much leveraged us to get more money last year, right? So to say that he's just falling into our lap and we can just swoop right in all of a sudden and sign him, I don't really subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to that thinking whatsoever. My subscription to thinking with as it pertains to the Earl Thomas situation is I know for a fact this group of players, the safety group, needs somebody added. What I'm saying is if it's Earl Thomas, by all means, who's not going to be excited if we get Earl Thomas in the building? But even if it's not, I don't want it to sit here and think that it's a boom or bust. Go get me a Logan Ryan. Go get me a Rashad Jones. Go get me a proven guy, a Tony Jefferson. Go get me a proven guy in this league that is better than Daniel Thompson. You know, if HaHa's washed, you got into $2 million, walk away from it and move on about your business. But and let me pivot and ask this question I asked Spoon earlier, Bluff. Jerry Jones, you know, finally let go of the no tweeting during practice so they could tweet about what he had to say. Papa Jones was home, if you will. And so, I mean, what did you take from his comments, and what do you think that kind of stirred everything?
You mean in regards to the whole
Earl Thomas, yeah, what he spoke on. Mm-hmm.
You mean the whole Ian Rappaport thing?
No, I'm not worried about the Ian stuff. Just what he said about Earl Thomas.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business, and Jerry has to look at things from all aspects. Hey, what's up, Mendoza? And Jeff, appreciate you joining tonight too, man. Glad you were able to hop on. Now about Jerry, this is a big decision he has to make because, again, chemistry is affected as well as the salary cap. So it's not something he can jump into. But like I told you guys last week when I came on, we need safety help.
Need it.
Depth, at least. So either we need to improve a starter so one of the starters can go to a backup, or we need to improve a backup position. So I think Earl would be a good addition. And like you were saying, the whole washing his car and missing meetings, that's just stuff they're trying to put out to get their money back. Because
and we can all agree here with Sean Smith. We've said this a ton. Go get a dog. We've been getting dogs across the line. Let's go get us a dog at the safety position too.
Yeah. I don't think it was so much to tarnish his name to the league. The Ravens are trying to build a case because they owe him $10 million.
Yeah, they're trying to get that guap back.
So they have much evidence as they can to suggest that he was a problem to get that money back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to happen, but they can keep putting out all they want because they're not getting that money back. And I feel like for Dallas and other teams, Earl Thomas's contract that he wants is going to depend on whether or not he gets to keep that $10 million. If he knows that $10 million is coming back from the Ravens, he may slide a team a discount for this year and then make sure it's a 2-year deal and tax them next year.
Right.
But he's not getting that money from them. He's going to the highest bidder for this year for 1 year for sure.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the Cowboys, and let's be clear. Let's marry this together. The Cowboys knowingly did some money moves and then tried to slide it underneath well, I mean, we're just, next year's cap, Dak, blah, blah, blah. They could have did that this year and got the Dak deal done. I'm not trying to buy that. They saw something on the horizon. We know that for sure. They made the move, obviously, to be flexible enough to do this deal. Now, back to kind of what you're saying, and something else I believe as well, too, Bluff, is, I mean, what is he going to ask for? It's going to pertain what happens with the hearing. However, that's not going to happen until the season. So something's going to have to happen before then for him to get signed, unfortunately, because this is a grievance that won't happen or get taken of arbitrarily wise until the season gets here. So he's got to figure out what his price point is and what he wants. And as Spoon as you are impatient about this, and we know about the safety group right now, nobody else is running out the signing though either. And we have to also take a look at it. It takes two sides to do a deal. We talk about that a lot here on the Star Game. He might be waiting and chilling to see what his best option is.
Yep, I'll say
he's
this.
not. Go ahead.
And go ahead. You know what? And while he waits, we're gonna be back out here again talking about how can he improve the safety position. See, this is what happens when we're afraid to give up draft capital for
but
good
this ain't
players.
It doesn't matter. This ain't draft capital. No. Stay on task here. This ain't draft capital. We're talking about Earl Thomas. I don't care about none of that draft stuff. Look, Spoon.
Turn off Route 33, Spoonie. Turn off the ramp.
Spoon disappeared. I think Spoon exploded, ladies and gentlemen. I think Spoon finally has exploded. We got a good question here real quick as we're talking about this. Which would y'all go first, Logan Ryan or Earl Thomas? Yeah. Man, there's something to be said, Jeff. And I kind of talked about there's not a lot of noise with this Cowboys team, and it's business as usual, and they're taking care of business. And I think you bring Logan Ryan in, that mantra, and this is kind of piggybacking off of what Bluff said, the chemistry, if you will, stays on point. If you bring in Earl, it's going to get real loud in the DFW area and around the league.
Now, Nick, let me say this. Cleveland might be willing to open those pocketbooks up a little bit because they just had a major loss.
Right. They lost Delpit for the year. So we dodged a bullet on that and not getting him in the second round, too.
Yeah, you just never know with things like that, how they'll happen. Now, like what Jeff said, I don't care which one we get. I just need to see an upgrade, either to a starter or to a backup. So if you told me Logan was our best bet and the price was cheap, I'm all for it. I don't care who it is. As long as they can play free safety. Because I'm hearing the Tony Jeffersons and trade for Keanu Neal and Rashad Jones, those are strong safeties to me. And I feel like if you look at this team, even with Jeff Heath last year, we got a bunch of strong safety guys. Darian Thompson is a strong safety.
Yeah.
Donovan Wilson played strong safety in college. Xavier Woods played all over the field.
He was everywhere. And Logan Ryan was kind of that same ilk when he was in Louisiana Tech. Now, the one thing I will say is you talk about Rashad Jones. I know a little bit longer in the tooth, but he's been a Pro Bowl free safety in this league before.
Right.
Just, but a little longer in the tooth, maybe. All right, I think Spoon, thank God. After Spoon, he combusted and left again. We can't talk about Earl Thomas around Spoon, apparently. But, I mean, again, and back on your train of thought, too, I'm ready for Donovan Wilson to walk through the door. We've had talks behind the scenes and everything else. Man, bring me Donovan Wilson and let him be the starting. But, I mean, even with that being said, I mean, they're looking at Darian Thompson so far, right? So, at this point, as I look at the group, period, man, just bring somebody in. We need to add something else into it to help out with what they got going on at this moment as far as that position group. Because again, I'm the tweet that nobody wants to hear. Jeff Heath's absent is felt, and I don't think any of us thought through training camp we would hear somebody out here talking about Jeff Heath absence being felt this far into it. Spoon.
Or for a Spoonie.
Yeah, good, man.
Okay. All right, Spoon. I mean, easy.
Reason to the choir, though.
Yeah. Again, it's like I said, man. We have a great all season. We're having good camp right now. And when you're giving guys like Darian Thompson being the man at safety, that tells you what the hell's going on. Nobody here has ever even thought about Darian Thompson. I'm not saying he can't go out there and ball out and play and surprise everybody, shock everybody. But at the end of the day, we're talking about Clinton Dixon, Xavier Woods, the future of Donovan Wilson. Now, Donovan Wilson, that's what I'm rooting for. I am rooting heavily for Donovan Wilson. Y'all know how I feel about Xavier Woods. You know how I feel about for 1 year. But when you're hearing these stories, it's a concern. Mike McCarthy wanted Willie McClay once Earl was released. That says something. Stephen Jones saying, "Hey, that's a position that we have to look at." That says something. Hey, Stephen Jones' actions trying to get Minka and Jamal Adams in these last 2 years. That says something. So we're sitting down like, okay, Earl's right here. You don't get trade from whatever. End of the day, you can't bargain shop all the time. You may have to overpay a little bit, and that happens. But if you do that, we are stacked. I mean, nobody want to hear my McDonald's commercial, right? We don't want to keep hearing BJ's story about the middle of the field. So here's the thing about it. Get the job done. Stop playing around with it. Get it done. Because I heard Bluff say Cleveland Browns. That's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge. They have the money. They will throw him that money. And Earl Thomas at 30 years old don't care about retirement check. He wants that retirement check. He wants something. My thing is this. Dallas got attracted. He's home. You do need him. You need him.
Yeah,
It's not going to be
right. And obviously, Earl Thomas, the infatuation that happened, again 2 years ago. I mean, all that's in play, But at the end of the day, whether it's Earl or not, I think Spoon, as you're hitting on as well, and a lot of people over here in the comments, and me and Blood were kind of talking about it and throwing some names out there. It's not a case of, oh, can we upgrade a little bit? Like, we've gotten to this stage of the game, and it's like, okay, we have a problem at safety, is what it appears to be at now. Less than, what are we, 19, 18 days away from opening. And, you gotta try to find a way to minimize that and do something with that. No matter what it is, if it's Earl, great. If it's not Earl, somebody you're going to have to add to this thing. Now, I found this interesting because I saw this newspaper headline from David Moore in the Dallas Morning News said that the deciding vote, big headline, big bold, the whole nine, said that the deciding vote on Earl Thomas will come down to Mike McCarthy. And I was like, interesting. I didn't get a chance to read it. I kind of caught it a little bit earlier today. Haven't had a chance to read it yet. But that was an interesting take from him and something for him to put out there in the Dallas Morning News today. With that stuff kind of floating around, Spoon, and with your impatience, it does let you know they're seriously considering it behind the scenes, but they're weighing what it's going to matter to this team. So then it kind of comes back to the Earl Thomas situation. But take the Stephen and Jerry part out of it. You believe in the coach, right? Mike McCarthy, you've been high on him thus far. If Mike McCarthy says, you know what, I don't want Earl, you got beef, or
I got beef.
Okay.
I got beef. If you got Everson Griffin in the door, you was okay with Alden Smith at the door. You could be okay with Earl Thomas. We're talking about he missed. First of all, the media is full of you know what. When it comes to the car wash joint, and Bluff said it the best. Trying to build a case. All that stuff is yin yang. You bring the man in here, you talk to a man, and you let him know in your contract, we're going to put stipulations there. We don't want a repeat of what you had with Baltimore. Now, with Seattle, that was a contract thing. It was basically, damn, I work hard for you, you're going to track that, so I'll put the middle finger up. That's what it was. We're the Dallas Cowboys. We don't hide from character guys. We have worse stuff. You know what's wrong? You know what's wrong with this? This generation, it's like this generation was treating cutting class like committing a crime. That's the problem is. He's not a troublemaker. That's not a problem guy. He's not Antonio Brown. He's a guy that he had a mix-up at Baltimore with a player. He had an off-the-field issue with female. Hey, Jerry Jones, didn't you? Didn't you have an issue with female at the ball? Come on, let's keep it real. Right now, we trying to go for a championship, not play patty cake and nitpicking on players. Mike McCarthy, you sat at home for a whole year. You got a lot to prove. While people were saying that it was your fault, you got fired from Green Bay. You want America's team, my man. You are here around the stars. We don't back down because of a guy cut class. We don't do that stuff. You get the best players in here like you can. Don't be like clapping head, Mr. Redhead with the Giants right now who got to run laps. Don't be like him. You come over here and you get the guy you need to win. Be a baller. Be a head coach like that. You don't shy away from that crap. Come on.
And ladies and gentlemen,
you got to get a dog. We're tired of having cats in here. We don't want cats. We want dogs. And right now, I see Davin Thompson. Are we serious?
Okay. All right.
How should be ashamed of himself? Xavier was ashamed of yourself.
Okay.
Ashamed of yourselves.
All right. This is the Spoonie Show now. It's the Spoonie Show. Thank you for tuning into the Spoonie Show, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, man, look, at the end of the day, when Spoon gets turned on, he gets turned on. I can't, sometimes, if it's your first time tuning in, Spoon gets on them rants. You just got to let him go. And Mama Mary Ella's not here tonight to wrangle him in, so let him go ahead. I mean, Rush starts saying, Spoon, calm down, brother. It's okay. But Jeffrey's agreeing with you. Preach on, brother. Preach on. Bluff City, I'll let you follow that up, my friend.
Man, how do you follow that?
I don't. Good luck. I have to deal with it every week.
I mean, I agree with what Spoonie says. You don't just let a guy like that sit out there because him and his brother like to have a real good time, and he missed a couple of meetings. because that's been brought up too. But hey,
Right.
we all make mistakes. We've all had issues in relationships, but that's a whole nother story. But to me, when I look at this, he wants to be here. I feel like that's one of the main reasons he does that type of stuff. He knows he made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
He was just going, to me, he was just like going through the motions. And maybe somebody, we don't know, maybe somebody hinted around to him that, you know what? The Ravens front office feel like we made a mistake and we really don't want to pay him that $10 million. And he's thinking, you know what? If you're trying to get rid of me and I pay my money, let me just do what I want to do because you're going to cut me anyway. We don't know that. Because
Right.
the first thing, I've never heard of a player who's a former All-Pro get in a fight and get kicked off a team. I made a tweet 2 days ago. Tyler Patman punched Dez Bryant, 2-time All-Pro, in the face. He was
Right.
on the practice field the next day. Steve Smith Sr. made them send one of his teammates home from an ass whooping, and he played 2 or 3 more years. You telling me Earl Thomas is getting cut from a team because he punched a teammate?
Yeah.
They
They
were gunning for him.
Right. Right. There was definitely some things happening, and I threw this out there too. Maybe after being the year up there, and maybe, look, and the things you do for money, right? Maybe he decided he didn't want to be there no more. And wherever the case is, and they've kind of added a lot of pieces and a lot of young pieces. And you look, they have a couple of young safeties, and not to call Earl Thomas a progress stopper per se, but if they were ready to move on to Elliott or whoever the case may be, it turns into he's a progress stopper. And how can we free up some of this cap money to maybe sign some of these people that we have that are about to be due some money coming up here real soon, But again, for me, I'm just like, when it comes to Earl, he hasn't signed anywhere. And most teams are saying they're not in on him. The Cowboys are the most team that's kind of talked and said, well, the next step we'll get him in the room. We'll get him in the room. I think there's something there, and I think, again, as we're just kind of connecting the dots and reading the tea leaves, if we're talking about McCarthy, Spoonie, as you brought up earlier, went directly up to Willie McClay to talk about it. And then you heard Steven and them, well, hey, we'll see, blah, blah, blah. But we're not going to talk too much about it. To Jerry saying, well, the next step will be to sit down with him, to McCarthy being now maybe the final deciding vote. Maybe at the end of the day, it is McCarthy that's going to cause this thing not to happen. I don't know. I mean, but if we're drawing the lines from the David Moores of the world and what's being said and being put out there, maybe he's going to be, or he's going to be the deciding factor that does bring him in. But, Dallas is definitely, here's what I do know. If we talk about just $10 million, okay, whether he gets it or doesn't get it, the Cowboys freed up enough cap space to give him a 1-year deal for $10 million and not be affected. And they didn't do this deal with Tyron to free this money up for nothing.
Exactly.
Right.
Let me say this too, for Spoonie. I know you got a point you want to make. You don't bring in 5 head coaches as coordinators and position coaches not to be able to handle a situation like this. Everybody talks about Mike McCarthy. Of course, he's the decision maker, him and the Joneses. But you don't bring in a Mike Nolan, who's a former head coach, and you bring in a Jim Tomsula, who's a former head coach. You don't bring in guys like that and not go get a Everson Griffin or a Alden Smith or even an Earl Thomas. We got Al Harris back there, one of the probably the most respected corners in terms of coaching and being a player that you can have in the league.
But you know what the difference is there, though, that you talked about? Alden was Tomalusa's guy.
Right, you're right.
And EG was Edwards' guy.
Right.
We don't have an Earl Thomas guy here outside of maybe Steven and Jerry. But you're right, though. But the overall prevailing thing, though, no, not to take away from that. You're absolutely right, Bluff. You have this isn't the young coaching staff. You have a coaching staff here that should be able to handle any kind of issue that would come up with him. I do agree. Absolutely. Go ahead, Spoon.
Now, you know what's funny? A couple of months back, before even the draft, when we was talking about safeties, and we were talking about the first round pick for Jamal Adams, we didn't know about CeeDee Lamb yet. And even after that, it was so funny that somebody came out and said, I don't remember who, imagine Earl Thomas got, yeah, that's gonna happen. Wow. Let me tell you, this is a blessing in disguise. This is like the football guys are like, hey, You tried Minka. You tried Jamal. Here's a free one. Earl Thomas. I will be so disappointed if we don't sign him because he had a kiddie fight with his teammates or because he was
yeah. I mean, again, if that's what look, if the end of the day though, if at the end of the day, if it comes down to they say he's not the right character fit for them, it's not going to be a kiddie fight. It's a combination of everything. It's going to be what happened in Seattle and how he handled that and shooting the finger. No matter what you think, that's going to be part of it. Look, don't forget, he came here and talked a bit about everything and spurned us in the front office and went and signed somewhere else for more money whenever we offered him a deal last year. You don't think Jerry and Steven feel some type of way about that? What happened then? Now then, whoa, you got to go, Spoon. Now I'm going to
go ahead.
Then he went up there, whatever his entanglement was, since that's the hot button word for 2020, or whatever he had going with his brother and whatever. And then the gun got pulled out and this, that, and the third. There's that out there. Then you add on top of that, that's off the field stuff. But now there's on the field, not showing up, washing cars, whatever the case. There's a lot going on. And that's when I say noise. There's some of the noise was here whenever he spurned us and went and signed up there. There's going to be noise when he comes here. And this team and the way they're built, they might not want that noise here. I don't know if they do or not. Should it be the ultimate breaking thing of them signing him or not? In my opinion, no. But they're building this thing a certain way. So, again, I'm back to, I don't care if it's Earl Thomas. And I think this is where everyone gets blinded here. I don't care if it's Earl. Go get a safety in this group, period. Whether you got to go trade for a Malik Hooker, okay, if you want to go make a move for Malik Hooker, go make a trade for Malik Hooker. Whether you want to go sign Logan Ryan, as I've been pounding the table for weeks now for him, whether you want to sign Rashawn Jones, I don't really care. Upgrade the safety position, period. I don't get hard for big names that are 30-something. If he comes, great. That'll be fantastic. If he doesn't, I don't care. Do something to fix the safety position so I don't have to hear somebody say the daggum absence of Jeff Heath, the GOAT, is felt.
It is felt. It should be felt. You know why? We do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
We do it to ourselves. Right? We say noise. What noise is Earl making? That's not compared to anybody. First of all, another thing also is this. End of the day, these are players. As long as he's not out there running branch, committing crime, stuff like that, that's a guy you want in here. I'm sorry. There is no noise with him at all. He wants to be here. I'm pretty sure he'll be on his best behavior with being a home man from Texas. On top of that, your favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys, this is the blessing in disguise.
And if he gets signed here, that's fine. But he's not the end-all, be-all to the problem, though.
At the end of the day, Thursday, Reggie Robinson, the rookie, Reggie Robinson II, will be playing free safety and camp. So we're going to continue to have experiment plays out of the positions, to play a position of need, to play around with it. And we're talking about a practice. It's going to tell us enough that we can trust this guy during the season. Well, meanwhile, a veteran guy in who played this can get it right. So you know what? Let's sit down, put our hands and let it rock out. If we don't get Earl Thomas, we will be back here on the show talking about how many points giving up. That's it.
I think you're wrong there. But Bluff, I'll give you the last word on the Earl Thomas watch, and we'll kind of pivot into some of this training camp stuff.
Well, let me say this before we move on to training camp. Well,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, cover. Yeah, what do we got here for Earl?
Training camp a little bit, but we do have a guy like a Daryl Worley, who right now is probably projected to be our 4th, 5th corner. He has a lot of starting experience at safety as well. Now, I know they've been kind of slow playing putting him at safety, but I would love to see him get a legitimate opportunity to get one of those starting spots. I think he has the talent. He definitely has the leadership and the knowledge. Let's see him back there. I mean, like you said, whether it's Earl Thomas, whether it's somebody else, we need improvement in the secondary. Last time I was on the show with you guys, before all this talk even started, I said, who's one person we ever heard anything about? And it was Ha.
Right.
Yeah, you called that.
It's continue. So we need help back there.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I like HaHa. I like HaHa. I'm as frustrated as how in the world you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be the reason why we didn't get Jamal. You're supposed to be the reason why we're going to continue to build around you and got Donovan Wilson or Xavier Woods. Being that you're not doing good, all we have at the high is inexperience. That's the problem. That is the problem. Now, Thursday, let's talk about Reggie Robinson, the second playing safety for the first. Now, BJ asked last time, what's a play? He asked, I think it was last week. Give me a play that we haven't heard of. A play that you want to hear more about. Reggie Robinson the second was named. Well, guess what? He got an opportunity Thursday. But here's the problem. Thursday is not going to tell you overall, can he be the guy that plays safety?
Right.
It's not just going to tell you that. You got an all-pro right there sitting there. And you're not. We'll see.
Now, look, Spoon, and I understand your point. I get your point. But again, I don't want to. My point is, it shouldn't be swing and miss and just not do nothing. Like, okay, well, those are the guys. We didn't get Earl, and this is what it's going to be. Add something. Whether it's look, moving a Worley, I'm okay with that. Let's go ahead and move him. I mean, let's move him. If we're bringing in the Logans or whoever the case may be, do that as well. But this idea, like, I feel the temperament. I've been on Twitter. I've been around and perusing. I feel the temperament of Cowboys Nation of, if we don't sign Earl, well, that's just it. Season's over. Shut it down. Wrap it up. And it's like, it's not that, like, it matters because we need to get better there, but we can still get better there and not get Earl Thomas is my point. Don't lose sight of the forest for the trees.
One last thing. Spoonie, I know you hate to talk about the safety position, but every team has a weakness. You're only as strong as your weakest link. The reason we got all these experienced coaches in is because we have a problem we haven't solved. Let's see how they hide it to make sure that it doesn't be a detriment to us.
Right.
If we don't get a safety, let's hope we have enough talent, and I think we do, that if we get in that point, they can hide it for us, because I can't name a Niner safety at all.
Listen, there's two guys on there I would have had mine traded for a low pick, and that was either Takarik or Jimmy Ward.
Yeah,
he made a pro last year. They don't want to pay him. So but I looked at every safety position in the NFL. That's how desperate I am. I'm fiending. That song, You Got Me Fiending. I am fiending. I've been fiending for that position for the last couple of you guys. BJ, I said, yo, when's the last time we addressed them? We just let it go. You got an all pro here. I wasn't sweating it. I relaxed. I calmed down when Jamal Adams went to Seattle. You know what? We're gonna work with what we got. Then with the whole thing, when BJ brought up Logan Ryan and he came out and said he want to play safety, you know what? That's a good idea. We haven't even touched that yet. I don't even think they're even looking at that. So now you got an all-pro Earl Thomas right here. There's no need to trade or nothing like that. But you're researching. I'm like, that's a gift. That's a gift. That's like your doorstep. All you got to do is just, bam, open the door, get the gift, and say thank you. And right now, we're not doing that. This is why I keep saying I love the approach that Stephen Jones does. He wants to build a team by the draft with Willie McClain. They are awesome. But sometimes you need Uncle Jerry. You need that Uncle Jerry back to make these deals. Because it's the same thing that happened a long time ago with Terrell Owens. When he was available, Parcells was like, nah, we don't need him. The minute we got T.O., that did wonders for Tony Romo. And all you saw was what? Parcells and T.O. became cool. That's what I'm talking about. We cannot judge the man for what he did on one team and act like he doesn't do the same thing with this team.
Okay, but all that's fine. But again, it's still back to whether it gets in here or not. So we'll see. To be continued. Maybe they do a late night creep signing and bring someone. But I think at least we can all agree on this. They need to add, whether it's in-house or moving Worley, they need to do something and add something to that safety position within the next, 18 days before we're in LA playing against the Rams, for sure. But with that being said, Earl Thomas, man, God bless. I didn't think, after going through and talking about him a couple years ago, that I'd be doing it again last season. But here we are. But so camp notes. Let's kind of get into into some of these camp notes real quick. It's all a pretty interesting thing, and I've been kind of looking and paying attention just to the rookies. I mean, at this point, CeeDee Lamb's every day. I mean, we just know he's going to do something. There's going to be a picture. It is what it is. That's why last November, December, I was telling Spoonie that's who I wanted. In February, I'm like, hey, we should draft it. People said I was crazy. We don't need a wide receiver. I'm like, yeah, but he's just different. Now, with that being said, the guy's been turning up here most recently, though, Diggs at corner.
Yeah.
Definitely starting to get some burns and turns.
Yeah.
I did catch a pretty good note on this, though, saying outside of those two, probably the other two best rookies thus far in camp, the two guys from Utah.
Utes.
Yes.
Yeah, the Utes, and that would be Bradley Anae and Francis Bernard. And now I want to kind of pivot here a little bit because we had a guy that played linebacker in high school, or not, excuse me, in college, and then came here and turned into a safety and should be in the Hall of Fame. And his name was Aaron Woodson. And I just wonder, this kid, because you have to remember when it comes to Francis, is he originally went to BYU as a running back, then moved to linebacker. Now he's only about 6 feet tall, and that's why a lot of people wonder why he wasn't drafted. Well, I mean, for a linebacker for the NFL, a little undersized. But what's his greatest strength? Coverage. He's got 2 or 3 interceptions in camp so far. I know he's sitting around 230, 235. I'm like, but what if he was to trim 10, 15 pounds? And does he have the range to go back and play safety? Maybe we have an answer for somebody at safety in the house. And I kind of want to get and piggyback and see what y'all thoughts were. Bluff, I'll start with you.
I say it, and I say it again. He was the best cover linebacker in college last year, hands down. But he's too slow for safety. Like, I think he ran a 4.8. Just couldn't do it. If you can find a package to get him out there as kind of a cover linebacker roamer, I say yeah, but I don't want him as my last line of defense on a consistent basis.
Okay. What if he cut some of that weight? Maybe got a little quicker again, like when he was a running back, though? Kind of getting down to a 4.45, maybe? I mean, instead of he's sitting at 235, getting down to maybe say 215, 220.
If that would happen, yeah, but I can't have a 4.8 safety.
Yeah. And that was kind of my point was if you drop a little bit of the weight and the speed kind of came back to when he was a running back coming into Utah. But back to that point, and Spoon, I wanted to bring you in second on that. Bernard was your guy. You was heavy about him early on whenever we got him as an undrafted guy. I know you called me on the phone and you was like, man, I can't believe we ended up getting Francis Bernard. Man, this is going to be day one, you said he's going to make this team. Day one. Right. So here we are now this far along in camp. And, he's out playing some of these guys, whether we're talking about Breland. Honestly, it's not Breland, but Robinson, excuse me. Robinson the second. Right, and stuff like that. I know obviously makes you feel pretty good. I'm a little taken back, I'll be honest. I know he covered well, and I looked him up. I definitely dug more into him after you kind of hit me on it. I'm definitely I wasn't sure. Like I said, I give it 1 to 2, maybe undrafted guys makes the team. And I think he's going to end up being one of them at this point. There's just too much talk about him. Look at the lack of depth there. We're not hearing much from Kirk. And that's another guy in the safety position. We're not hearing much about Kirk, the other undrafted guy that maybe had a chance a lot of people was hyped about that we're not seeing. So your thoughts, I mean, how much of a contribution do you think he can make at this point, Spoon?
I think so much that, I mean, I hate to say it. I remember last week you had a question about give me a surprise cut. And I believe y'all picked Sean Lee. And the way he's playing, I wasn't on board with that, but the way he's showing in camp, he definitely can be the guy that can replace Sean Lee, the Sean Lee experiment, the Sean Lee insurance claim right there. So, listen, at the end of the day, it's about making plays. Mike McCarthy's going on his way, speaking about him to the media, saying this guy here is doing the work. He's 25 years old. He's mature. He's catching up very quick. And again, he's gonna make this team. He's really gonna make this team. And I told everybody a couple of weeks ago, he's gonna make everybody fall in love with him. He's gonna be that type of guy.
Right. Definitely. And then kind of even just in some of his other spots. I mean, Cheeto coming out here getting some picks, getting the head turned around.
Right.
Every day, man, we're hearing about 3, 4, 5 different interceptions from different guys. And, something we highlighted early on in camp of how they were coming out and they take and actually have a slot in practice to do nothing but work on turnovers. And we're seeing the change already in the culture and what's going on there. I'm excited that they left Cheeto there, even though he had the issue at safety. I wanted Cheeto to stay at corner. I think Al is going to be a huge factor in him and what he's doing. I love to see he's coming on. Also, another guy that people were out on that I said, hey, hold on, pump the brakes. The talent's there. Let's see what happens. Tristan Hill, guys, the past couple of practices has been really turning it on.
Yeah, I got to eat crow for that. I got to eat crow for that. I got to eat crow for that one. I was against Tristan Hill from day one with this, and he's turning heads.
Let me say this. Back to Tristan Hill in college. His problem wasn't that he wasn't a talented player. He had an issue because the team switched from a 3-4 to a 4-3. And he just didn't consider himself a 4-3 player. To me, when I hear him saying that he's excelling, that makes me think they're going back more to a 3-4.
Right.
To me, that's fine because Tristan Hill was a dog his junior year in a 3-4 as a penetrating nose tackle 5 tech. So I'm interested to see how they line up. I feel like it's going to be a lot of 3-4.
Yeah, and of course, and not only on top of just a lot of the 3-4. I mean, there's things out here that NASCAR packages. We're hearing stuff about 3-down linemen with Alden Smith in the middle and things of that nature. I mean, there's definitely going to be. We know we're going to be multiple, but yeah, I'm with you on the 3-4, and that's a good pickup there on Hill. They had the whole coaching staff change and stuff happened, and then he came in here. No, he's going to play the 4-3. Whatever happened, but he worked himself. I mean, look, low key, he worked himself to be ready for this training camp. Maybe we can't say the same about La'el Collins right now, who's coming off of a fantastic season, but it's starting to sound a lot like he just wasn't in shape to get here and still working himself into shape to get out to practice. That's kind of scary with us being this close away. We, as we talk about the safety positions, man, this offensive tackle position being this close. I know we got some proven veterans there, but if something, I mean, even Irvin, who's supposed to be the swing tackle's not back into things. I'm more scared about the tackles right now, maybe, than I am the damn safeties. At least we got healthy bodies back there, I think.
Yeah, a safety won't get our quarterback killed.
No, but that's true too. Flashbacks of Atlanta.
Tackle is more important. Safety won't get killed.
Yeah, big time. I guess a couple other notes too. They were saying, man, the middle was looking strong. Joe Looney penciling in. Apparently, Connor Williams, my guy that I've been down on. Apparently, Connor Williams has been having some great practices lately. So that makes me feel better. Definitely makes me feel better because I was like, man, I was out. Before training camp, I'm like, man, I hope McGovern wins it. Let the rookie Tyler Badaz get over there and get a chance at it. I'm like, I was just done with him. But, I mean, good to hear good things. But here's what I think. Well, are they looking good because the two tackles aren't there? So it's like, well, they're not getting beat. So I don't want to get lulled to a false sense of security there. Like, oh, they're looking so good. But it's just because, well, these two tackles on the outside are having issues.
Yeah. That's the problem with not having a preseason. If one guy looks good and you only see him against one guy, does that mean he looks good or the other guy looks bad?
Man. Big facts.
Going back to Antoine Woods a couple years ago, when we found out Travis Frederick was dealing with that disease he had, and everybody talked about Antoine Woods just blowing Frederick up in practice.
Mm-hmm.
But really, Woods was that good, or was it Frederick was struggling with the disease?
Right.
Woods turned out a good player, but
Woods has been decent. And again, one thing about Woods also, not hearing a lot about him from camp. I know he had an interview yesterday or day before and said he still feels like he's the forgotten guy here. But I mean, I'm glad he's here. We've talked about that before. I mean, great for depth, but maybe he would be a surprise cut possibly that, we really didn't talk about when we had that conversation a week ago. Obviously we'll get to see this unleashed as we get to regular season, but just hearing the little bits of, well, this 4-man lineman, this 3-man lineman, these guys standing up, being multiple, being this is very exciting. And I get, being very upset of, we don't want the one singular position to break this thing down. Absolutely. So far though, what you've been hearing on as far as camp, what are you liking about camp and what you've heard over the past few days since we was on last?
Of course, CD Lamb. So he got his own Madden commercial. That's crazy. He's balling. The catches he made are amazing. At the end of the day, it's like, damn, did we really get CD Lamb here with Amari Cooper and Gallup? It's gonna be nuts. Blake Jarwin. They're saying Dak Prescott loves the middle of the field, and it's plays like the play that Blake Jarwin made over the Saints. Same thing with the Giants. Plays like that, you see the connection between those guys. So the offense is starting to gel more now. I know in the beginning of the camps it was the defense coming up, but the offense starting to gel now. I love the flexibility of how they use the defense. As you put out there, Aldon Smith playing the defensive tackle with Ford there. I mean, I love it. It's you could tell that opposing offense is not going to be like, well, they tell us what they're going to do.
They're not much telegraphing for sure.
Right. So I'm loving that. As far as corners, listen, Branthony Brown is doing solid. Cheeto, I gotta give you and Mary that. Cheeto's doing very good. Guys like, I just want to hear more from that other position. That is it. Other than that, I have no complaints. I do want to. One guy I do want to hear about more is Tyler Badass. I know they were saying a rookie was playing guard for them, but they never said who. And they didn't mention was it Badass, who was it Terrence Steele, who was it? But that's why I really want to know, like, what's going on with Tyler Badass.
Right. So far over the past couple of days since we last saw Bluff, camp notes that have kind of stuck out to you, any?
The one thing that stood out to me more is my Memphis guy representing, not Tony Pollard, Cedric.
Right. Yeah.
Cedric.
Yeah. Number 4 is locked. Yep.
I've been saying that for 2 years now. If not for injuries, Cedric Wilson would be a star in this league. He has everything you want: 6'3", 4.5 speed, inside, outside, great route runner, deep threat, punt returner, all the above. He's almost like a mini CD Lamb. So now when I see that is finally showing, I don't care who the 5th receiver is, because I top inside and outside anywhere you want. And top him.
Yeah, I mean, that was my pre-training camp pick for the 4th slot. Again, I'm with you. Injuries is what's held him back, man. It just really has. I'm like, if he stays healthy, I think he was going to lock the 4th down. If we're going to the 5th, I think Ventrell Bryant has done more than enough this camp. I think he's going. Wow. I think he's locking down the 5th. That'll give us another big body Michael Gallup type. Go up, get the ball physical, and give us something on special teams. And then I don't know if we're going to go any further than those 5, but I think for sure those are the 5.
Y'all finally on board with me, huh?
Yeah, I think I'm on the 5 train a little bit. Think I'm on the 5. I mean, it had to be someone to really give us something on special teams. And I like John Bay Johnson. Don't get me wrong. I like John Bay Johnson. But I mean, I think it's going to be 5. I do. After him and Hana and looking up and down and just kind of these notes and how everything's been playing out. I mean, T. Jones has done some things here and there as well. But yeah, I don't know. I think it might end up being just 5 at the position, though.
It's like Jones and Johnson on the practice squad with no problems, though.
I think so too. Yeah, I definitely agree. And especially with the way it works, you can bring them up quickly if need be, wherever the case may be.
You know what's solid though? Out of all of this, Andy Dalton. As I said earlier, the good thing about Andy Dalton is that when you have a veteran quarterback, you could definitely now recognize your offense with the backups because you got somebody who's proven who could deliver that football. I posted a clip earlier, Andy to Ventrell Bryant over Anthony Brown. That was a heck of a catch, heck of a concentration and everything. And I'm like, this is what a good veteran quarterback can give you, and it helps the guys for the fourth receiver spot or the 5th guy, and we can recognize who's doing what. So that to me is awesome with that. I mean, great camp so far.
I can't wait for Blue West. Speaking of Dalton, he had a great pass about a good little 15, 20-yard out to Wilson earlier today too. That thing was live. I will say this. I saw that picture clip of LVE folding up Zeke. No, he voted up Zeke. You
Oh,
see the
yeah,
one
I
where he
saw
voted
that.
up Zeke?
Yeah, I almost
I'm
didn't want.
like,
And he did Tony Pollard, I believe.
he got Pollard too. Yeah, no, yeah, he
Oh,
got
look.
both.
If
Yeah, he got
anybody
both.
didn't see it, if anybody didn't see it, hold on a second.
Oh, while Spoonie pulls up, one more position I got to talk about.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Spoonie.
Ugh.
Calm down, LVE. Calm down.
Hey, you trying to test the neck? That's all. Just test the neck.
Calm down.
But one more training camp position I'm extremely happy to hear about.
Okay.
Our kicker hasn't missed a kick.
Yeah, 18 to 18, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
All indoors for what it's worth, but yeah, 18 to 18, not much on the punter. Hey, if y'all got some questions, go and throw them out there. We're going to wrap the show out and take some questions here. Is it good or bad that we have heard absolutely nothing from Zeke? I think it depends on what you mean. I mean, he's done his interviews. He's been in practice. I mean, they've been throwing the ball a lot more. He's been excelling in that from what we've heard. I think maybe we're getting some of that. You're feeling kind of some of that same heat of what's going on because even Mike McCarthy today was like, they told me I was maybe not really great with running backs. And he went on and spilled about the Marcus Allens of the world and stuff that he worked with, so the Frank Gores and everything. And then you had Zeke even talk about a reduced role, and he was like, I don't care if I had limited carries as long as we're winning. So, I mean, there's something out there that's kind of getting perpetuated. I think it's much to do about nothing. I think Zeke looks in great shape. And Zeke, quiet otherwise, is great too. But Bluff, what you think?
Same thing with Amari Cooper. When you got a player that great, you don't have to talk about him.
Right.
As long as they're not hurt and they're in shape, I don't want to hear about him anyway. I'd rather hear about CeeDee Lamb or Tony Pollard or Blake Jarwin. Let me know that the guys that we're expecting on to get to that next level are getting there. As long as he's here, I don't have to hear anything about him. He doesn't have to practice, honestly. They can give him the LT treatment.
Go give me that bubble wrap and just send him to the side. Well, especially after we saw LV with his knee and ankle all up underneath. I'm like, hey, you know what? That's good enough for Zeke. He's ready for regular season. He's ready for regular season. We got Brian Johnson checking in saying, how do you guys feel about Jerry not addressing the guys wanting to kneel for the anthem? I mean, I guess he kind of addressed it, though. He said they're going to have a meeting. They're going to come to an agreement. It's open door policy. Darren Terrio posted he's kneeling.
There we go. Yeah.
I don't really know. I mean, have y'all heard anything else other than that they're going to have a meeting? I'm gonna tell you what it's. Well, Jerry did address it. Remember, grace.
Yeah.
Grace. He's gonna have grace in all of it. So that's kind of one of those wait to be seen things and what happens as far as what goes on there. Obviously, it's something they're talking about in house until week one's here. We don't know.
I want to add on to that thing real quick.
Yeah.
When it comes to politics, it's very serious. Not calling out any other teams, but there were teams when the needle was going down where players were against each other in the locker rooms. There were threats, all kind of stuff. Jerry Jones, the media loves to get on top of him everything or twist his words. His thing, when he addressed it, was that he wants everything in-house with his team because it's about the whole team. He doesn't want where there's an animosity towards each other, X, Y, Z, because it's situations like today that divides people. And that's the one thing you don't want. And it happened to other teams in 2016. So he addressed that.
Fair enough. You got anything you want to say on the Bluff before we move on to the next question?
No, I mean, Spoonie said it all.
Boom. Fair enough. Has Pollard been playing some slot? Could we have some packages with Pollard, CD, Gallup, and Coop? Bluff, I'll let you lead off on that one.
I mean, just they don't give away a lot in terms of positions just because they're not allowed to. But they have mentioned it's been a lot of Zeke and Pollard playing together. So my assumption would be they probably do spread him out to the slot sometimes. They don't keep them both in the backfield.
Yeah. I think David Hellman also cryptically has been throwing tweets out there of it's almost like this coaches have realized they had another running back. So I think absolutely we're going to see some different looks with Pollard out there in the slot as well. I know Spoon was pounding the table. I mean, I think a lot of us were pounding the table for more of Pollard last year. Now, obviously, it's training camp. We'll see. without preseason games being in the building. But I think it is definitely going to be something we're going to see more of. We'll just have to wait and see how much. My boy Chop's in the building. What's going on, Chop? Thank you for tuning in. As always, let us know, man. Earl Thomas or bust? You missed like the first 30 minutes of us going back about Earl Thomas and what we need to do. I'm interested to see what you got to say. Let me check over here. No questions on that side. All right, guys. Well, I guess that'll about do it. We're out of questions. Oh, one more. Other than safety, are y'all comfortable with the team right now if the season started? Spoon, remember, we all got to answer, though.
Other than safety, come on. Backup tight end. That's it.
Okay. There's been some positive news about Bell as well, but I feel that. Jones, other than safety, you comfortable with the roster right now?
Words right out of my mouth. If something happened to Bell, I don't know what we would do in terms of tight end.
Said Schultz ain't doing it for you, huh? Fair enough. Right. I can feel about as good as I can. For me, tackle obviously is a problem for me at this particular moment. I think I just talked about that a few minutes ago. Would we even have both starting tackles if we were to play, this weekend, the season started? So that definitely would be something that worries me as it pertains to this roster. And I don't know if there's a real clear answer what they can go do to really fix that right now, other than what they have in house. I think tight end, there's some things you can do. I think safety, there's some things you can do. Tackle, I don't know if there's really much you can do other than ride with what you got. So that's pretty much where it is. Chop Chicks, it says ET all day, hashtag Route 29. So when are you going to bring it back? I mean, I saw you had now for those that don't know, I saw you put it on Twitter. I saw you put it on Twitter. I didn't know if you was going to print out the paper and get after it if your heart can go through that breakdown again or not. Do you think our tackles are struggling or just is they're good? I mean, Jeffrey, the tackles are out. Tyron Smith's been out a little bit. And Leo Collins is yet to practice yet. This is a yes. Bada bing, bada boom. Mendoza with the yes, he's comfortable with the roster. Paz a laugh at this point. Chop, yeah, it's not looking good. It is not looking good. Hall said, "My bad, Spoon." Oh, here we go. Dadgum Route 29 starting to fly. I see it coming. Schultz can catch though. I mean, he can catch. It's true. Go ahead. I see. Go ahead, Buff.
He went to Stanford. Stanford tight ends get a pass only for so long. I got to see the pedigree come out sooner or later.
Yeah, so Schultz going to raise some eyebrows. And something else I kind of talked about, and I kind of grouped him in with Cheeto and with Tristan Hill. He's got to get a chance, and maybe the coach can help him. But again, it's hard to when it's sight unseen. It's hard to have faith. Like maybe some of these safeties. Spoony. I'm kidding, Spoon. Don't kill me. Prediction time from Russ Turner. 13-3. We go to the NFC Championship game in Super Bowl. Hey man, it's what a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. And with Jay Lewis is healthy. Who's y'all corners opening weekend? I got Cheeto, Anthony Brown, and Jay Lou. I think that's going to be the starters. Jones, you got somebody different there. I mean, Worley could work his way in there possibly, but I think, as we're currently said, I think that's who it's going to be.
I still think Diggs starts week 1. I just have a gut feeling that.
I want that. I want Diggs to start. I want Bluff. I want him to definitely start.
I did. I felt like maybe could have a shot, but looking at safety position, I think they need to start getting him some work back there now.
Right.
Back there.
There was a play where he made on Noah Brown, and it's like Noah Brown tried to he tried to cross him, but they just stood with him, and then he turned to a wide receiver just for that ball. I was like, the way he just turned around and played the ball, I was like, wow. I know why we didn't sign Byron. I understand why.
I think Diggs would be the starter if we had preseason.
Yeah.
And without the live bullets, without the live bullets, I think that's the scary part. I think it won't take him long to work his way into being the starter, but I think week 1 they're going to walk out there and it'll be Brown and Cheeto on the outside with Jordan Lewis at the slot if they're all healthy, and hopefully we can maybe start seeing some word about really maybe moving over there to safety as well.
I have a question for that though.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. What you got, Spoon?
Everybody even on the panel. Will we sign Earl Thomas? Yes or no? Prediction. I just want a prediction. I'm not gonna argue.
Okay.
Will
All right.
you feel we're gonna sign Earl Thomas?
Are we okay? Fair enough. Put it out there. Will the Dallas Cowboys sign Earl Thomas? Let's get our yeses and nos up before we get out of here. Bluff, are we going to sign Earl Thomas? I'll start with you.
Yes.
Yes.
I say yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I say no. I say no. I think at this point, if they were going to sign Earl, I think it would have been done. I mean, whenever you heard, again, when you heard McCarthy go directly as soon as he was cut and went to talk to Willie McClay, and then they've had all these other talks and it's not done, something's a holdup. Now, are we going to say Jones was the holdup because of maybe him coming in, spurning them and taking more money, and it's the coaching staff that really wants him? I don't know, but I don't know. I don't think so. It just seems like one of those things at this point, because I'm like EG where they had to wait and do things and see what was, and whatnot. I don't know. To me, it feels like we're not going to do it. And maybe it's just part of the idea that we just never get a safety to. And I'm just like, I'm good. I mean, they could have went and added somebody already if they wanted to. They're not Earl. Spoon, don't kill me. I know they're not Earl, but let's take a look here. And the answers are: we got yes, we going to sign him, yes. Chop says no on ET, says they're not going to sign him. Hall with the hopefully so. I like it. Hopefully so. Mendoza says, yeah, I think so.
The money's right. He has on the field.
Right. Yeah, it says we will get ET kind of cheap. Let him see he has no market right now. Turner with the no, still begging to say, begging to save like me for Logan. Yeah, I mean it's definitely going to see if it does happen. I'm gonna turn on this thing. I'm gonna let Spoon get in front of everybody, and I'm just gonna get me some soda. I'm gonna sit down. And I'm just gonna put him on solo and let him just watch and just let everybody watch. Also, I guess one other thing, we didn't touch on the camp notes. We kind of got caught up on the safety talk a little too long. Gregory as well, airing out the NFL in the Players Association still for him not being, and he's right. I mean, there's no if, there's a buzz. Randy Gregory should have already been reinstated. This is asinine and laughable at this point. Look, if you're not going to give him an answer. If you're not going to reinstate him, just say, no, we're not reinstating him. But don't leave him in limbo. Give him an answer. It's less than 3 weeks before training camp.
I said a month ago, if he's not on the team by August 28th, he won't make the team. What do you got? I said August 28th, and we're right there.
It's right there. It's right there. You're absolutely correct. It is right there. But I don't know. I mean, I would have to feel at a certain point he has a legal case here somewhere. So I don't know. It's definitely not something that it's just one of those conundrums where just none of it makes sense whatsoever, and there's no clear answer about it. So, but I did want to touch on that because he did call him out again, and it is something that is ongoing, obviously, in things that are happening. And Jeffrey with the Randy who? I told you Coop out. Hold on. Boom. Randy who? It might very well soon be Randy who for sure. But with that being said, man, Bluff City, tell the people we appreciate you coming on into the pinch and joining us today. Let the people know where they can find you. Y'all got a show tomorrow coming, right?
Thursday.
Okay, Thursday. That's right.
We go into Wednesdays once the season starts. Right now, we still stick with Thursday.
All right.
All right. So, everything: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. It's all Bluff City Cowboys. Be sure you guys go on there, follow me, like, subscribe. I'm co-host of a show called The Cowboy Zone. We air Thursdays, 8:00 Central Time. This week, got a great episode. I'm looking forward to it. I've been trying to set it up for months. I got a podcaster from every NFC East team, and we'll go through position by position, and I'm gonna get their opinion 1 through 4. What do you think the positions rank? I tried my best to pick guys who won't be like. I tried not to pick Instagram people or Twitter people. I tried to pick people I know will come on and will give as unbiased an opinion as they can. But
That's what's up.
even with that, it's going to always go off the
Oh
rails.
yeah, you already know. Yeah, for sure. Hey man, Chop. Hope y'all are safe there. And actually, one time for everyone that's in the path of the hurricane and whatnot. Hope everybody's getting prepped up. Is going to be safe over the next couple of days for sure. Mendoza said, "Don't worry, Bluff. He is definitely going to be in there." As you know, you're tuned into the Star Gang Live with the Cowboys Report that we come through with every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central. Facebook, YouTube. You can find us. Actually, switch the name up a little bit for YouTube. People are having a hard time searching Stargang, so I got a Stargang podcast. Maybe that's a little bit easier to find on YouTube, so you can go sub there. As you can see on the bottom of the screen, if you want to follow me on Twitter at your_guy_Nix. Spoonie, you can find Spoonie over there at Spoonie881 on Twitter as well. And of course, man, like the group. Follow the page, sub to us. We're trying to get all of it going. We bring good people in from all these other casts to come in and have a good time. Without y'all, there's no us. Man, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I can't wait to watch. I can't watch to see these four and these rankings. I'm gonna have my notepad down. Like one. Oh no, I don't like that. I'm gonna call you, man. I don't like that. Go ahead.
Done it before, and I did it with Cowboys people, and I kind of felt like we were a little biased. So I'm interested to see if some of these
how
people
it stacks up. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Hey, for anybody who's watching from my social media, make sure you guys keep tuning in to Star Gang, because if I wasn't right here, I'd be right there in the comments with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. And also, since Mary had a work thing, wasn't here tonight, me and Mary will actually be coming back right at you tomorrow, so we'll get to hear Mary's take on this safety position. Probably won't be as rambunctious as Spoonie's, but we'll have to wait and see. But me and Mary will come back for a special edition. No after show on YouTube tonight. We're just going to do another show for the actual Stargate page tomorrow, so Mary can jump in and give y'all her thoughts on what's going on as well. And we get another, practice and stuff to talk about. And maybe, Spoon, just maybe, the football gods will give us a signing by the time we come on tomorrow, and you'll feel better, even though you can't be here.
I hope so. Well, if Earl gets signed, wherever I'm at, I'm going to apologize to them, because I will go ham.
And with that,